Hey guys, welcome back to Vince Vale Custom. So today we're going to continue on with our work in progress series of taking the Sideshow Collectibles Black Canary statue and turn it into a Velma from Scooby Doo. So if you've been following the past videos, what we did is we chopped up the Black Canary, we added the shoes, the socks, we gave her a little bit of thicker legs as well. Last video we did the skirt, did the cuffs of the beginning of the sweater, we changed the hand for a magnifying glass, we made glasses, we chopped out the hair, and we're pretty much rolling and we're ready to go. So we're kind of coming close to the finish line. So today's video we're going to focus on the sweater. Now in the last video I did the cuffs because I figured it would be easier to get those cuffs and everything in the collar all done. And then in this way I could just focus on the sweater and go from there. Now all this stuff that's messy in the arms and everything, it's all going to be hidden because what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll out Aves and I'm going to slap it onto the main body, and what I'll do is I'll add some wrinkles and stuff. I'll add the texture and go from there, and then if I have more Aves or if I need to roll out fresher Aves or whatever I need to do, I'll add the cuffs and the sweater and the sleeves and all that stuff. So the idea is her cuffs are here and it's going to be very bunchy up here, so we're going to have like a bunchiness like she rolled up her cuffs up there. So with Aves, you have that 3-hour window, and adding a texture with Aves that's already cured and adding another section onto it, you never really get it right, or I haven't been able to get it right yet. So like say I was doing this socks with these textures and then I tried to add more to it the next day, trying to do another layer onto it and adding the texture, you sort of see like a little bit of a raised area and it doesn't line up correctly. So I'm just going to focus on this video of just doing the sweater. I'm not really going to stop the camera and explain what I'm doing. I'm just going to go to town. So what I'll do is when I'm ready to slap on the Aves, I'll explain what I'm going to do real quick. And then from there, I'm just going to be kicking on some music. And I'm just going to work on it for like 4 or 5 hours, maybe even longer today. And just pretty much get it done. So it's kind of like a straight shot. I can't really sit there and waste time explaining what I'm doing while the Aves is curing. I really want to make sure that I can blend everything together and I can get my textures and go. So I've been thinking about a lot of this over the past week or two. I've been really trying to plan out how I'm going about it, and I think today I'm really in the mood to do it. So I'm going to go to town and try to get this sweater done. And if I could get this sweater done up today and we could finish out this video just of the sweater and just kind of give you guys an idea of like how I was going about it, the next video will be really focusing on the hair. And then once the hair is done, it's a matter of just cleaning her up. And then we're going to start prepping up her and the Daphne that I'm building on the live streams of trying to do a base. So the idea is we're going to do connecting bases. But what I think I'm going to do is when she's pretty much ready to go, the hair's done, everything's ready to be cleaned up, on the live stream I'm going to show people in real time on how I'm planning on doing the connecting bases. But then once I do all that, we'll come back with our video for her, and we'll be building up the base and stuff in the video and everything. And it's a little bit more to go, but I really want to make sure I can get the figure done and go from there. So with that being said, I'm going to get all prepped up after lunch. We're going to sit down and hopefully we get this sweater all finished up today. Alright, so I'm all set. I just mixed this up. I just rolled this out. I got some baby powder on it. So what I have to do is I'm going to start working on the body area. And I think once I get the body area done and I want to start working on the arms, if stuff is a little too hard or difficult to use at that point, what I'll do is I'll mix up some fresh stuff again and roll it out real quick and work on the arms. I don't want to push my luck trying to go crazy with this stuff if it starts to get too tough. But I didn't roll out too thin. It's fairly thick. So this way I could stretch a little bit. I could do some wrinkles and I could go from there. So now I'm just going to kick on some music and just sit here and plug away on this for the next few hours. So I was working on this for about 5 hours, but there was a lot of times I had to stop the camera and kind of get into some areas and clean stuff up. There was times that wrinkles weren't working with the camera in the way, so I just kind of went back in there and just kind of tweaked some things here and there. You can see how I got a little bit messy around the cuffs and stuff, but that's fine because I still created more of a texture on it, so it's not going to hurt it. But I'm pretty happy with it. Now, one of the things that I was doing when I was working on it, and hopefully you can kind of see it a little bit, probably not really crazy from this angle. What I wanted to do is make this bunchy, but I still wanted to keep her figure, like the waist is pretty small coming into here. So what I had to do is I had to sort of really push the eaves in here and push the eaves over in this area here to kind of keep that, hourglass figure still there, but kind of make this kind of like bunchy at the bottom. And I really like the idea that this is kind of like a little bit tighter up top. I didn't want it too baggy, but I wanted to give it a sense that it's baggy, that the cuffs are rolled up, as you can see. And it was a lot of just texturing, just kind of creating the wrinkles, texturing it, kind of pushing eaves around, building stuff up. Like around these areas over here, I had to build up a little bit more to make it look like the sweater is like, there, because the way the arm was sculpted was really short so it could fit the jacket. So I had to kind of build this up a bit. You can see her chest is built up a little bit more now too as well, so that kind of plays to the figure a little bit. And it's pretty much just kind of gives it that texture like we did with the socks and everything. So the next step is what I have to do is kind of prime it up, clean it up a little bit, make sure things are looking good. At some point what I did too real quick off camera is I would put these pieces on here just to make sure I'm looking good, especially this one right here. I wasn't sure when it got to the point where I was working on this one, and this one I completely forgot about this. I wasn't sure if this was going to hit the hand, but luckily it's not. It's just really tight there, but it still doesn't hit it, and you can get the hand in with no problem. So that worked out pretty good. So you can see how the idea was to make it bunchy and to kind of make it like she pushed up her sleeves there. Some cartoons and some drawings kind of make it bunchier where it's really baggy at the sleeves. I didn't really want to go that route with it because it's really not like a cartoon. It's kind of a little bit more realistic. I also make sure too here it's not baggy, like the elbow is like right there, but it all gets bunched up around there, as you can see. So I think it worked out pretty well. I really like the way it works. I'm happy with it. It's got a nice lot of wrinkles. It's got a lot of play. This, kind of feels like it's coming down, below the belly button pretty further and stuff. So it works. So I'm pretty happy with it. So next step is I'm just going to kind of like put it aside when I get a chance, get in the garage and prime it up. I'm going to have to clean up the whole item, and I'm going to kind of just step away from it for a few days, because what it is I might come back to it and say, what, maybe I need to touch something up, maybe something's a little bit out of place. It's just one of those things where sometimes I got to walk away from the stuff and then come back with a fresh pair of eyes and see if I need to do something. But other than that, we're looking pretty good. I really don't see anything that I'm really major that I need to kind of clean up or anything. So I'm going to start, getting it all cleaned up, start preparing for the hair for the next video. But what I will do is maybe the next video I'll show you what we're doing with the base. But on my live streams when I work with Daphne, I'm going to try to show everybody in real time how I kind of come up with the two-part base, how we're going to set it up. So I'll link that in the description and stuff too, either this video or next video, so you guys can kind of go in there and see how I kind of come up with that. But other than that, looking pretty good. So I had a chance to prime up Velma, get her cleaned up a bit. I need to get into the into a wash sink and just kind of do some more wet sanding and tune her up before we do the hair. But before I do that, I kind of want to plan out the base a little bit. So I have Daphne here and I have Velma, and I kind of want to get their bases set up. So on my live stream, I went ahead and casted up copies of the base. Basically, it was just a generic metal tin. I put a piece of something in the middle, and I kind of did it so this way the pieces will split. So the idea is Daphne's here, Velma's here, and then you can kind of split the bases. Now, I'm not going to keep the bases exactly like this, like perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split them a little bit this way, So this way I can kind of put dirt going downwards, but they kind of connect. So it's going to be like I need to sculpt them both together. So this way they can separate them, and you can put Daphne in here, or over here, Velma, or you can actually put them together on a display so they are removable. So I need to kind of bring them out this way a little bit. So it's going to be kind of hard to see in the camera, but if I get them on there, so the way it's going to be is Daphne will be here like this, right, kind of like that, and then Velma is going to be here. So the hair and the flows are going to kind of go together with the skirt and then the hair. The way it's going to work is Daphne will kind of be looking toward Velma. So that's kind of the way it's working. I can't have them too close together, like that. So I got to kind of put them in a way where it is going to work. So if I see where Daphne is going to go. So if Velma goes a little bit this way and Daphne kind of goes this way. So like I said, I might have to sort of, tweak the bases a little bit, but at least I could get my start going. So I think the way I got this set up is pretty good. So what I gotta do is I gotta start setting up the keys and everything and get these in here. I want it to be a little bit higher because I want the dirt to be like kind of moundy, like going down. I'm not worried about the base being shown as much. I don't care about that, so we might have to put some eaves and stuff around the edge. And kind of like make it look like a dirt mound going down. But we'll see how that goes. So her key's a little bit different. I think this rod kind of comes up to this direction. I'm not really sure. Something I probably should have done in the beginning, but the problem is usually I like to put a rod going up the ankle and stuff, but the way this foot is and everything is a little, but adding all this extra A's and stuff really secured it. Plus we have a key here. So all I really need to do is try to get this into there. So the way it's going to work for right now, I'm going to try to dremel this out, and start getting this going and stuff, and then once I start getting these set up, and I start planning this out a little bit more, we'll come back and I'll have a better idea. So I had a chance to put a piece of tape at the bottom. I had to kind of wipe this down with some alcohol to get any of this residue off at the bottom of this. What I did is I got the key situated in here with some of my BSI gel glue. I squeezed a bunch in there. I put some Instaset around the piece of the metal, and I put her into the base, and I put a bunch of Instaset over here as well. So this key is lined up pretty well. I'm happy with where it's at. I'm just letting this glue kind of cure up a little bit more before I put it in there, because the glue takes a little bit longer if you squeeze a lot to really cure. The outside edges are kind of curing, but the inside still stays a little bit soft for a bit. So I'm just going to try to let this situate a bit. I'm going to go in the garage and dremel out this area a little bit, dremel out this area as well over here. So this way what I'll do is I'm going to mix up a bunch of Magic Sculpt. I'm going to slap it here, I'm going to slap it over here, and what I'll do is I'll have a bunch of masking tape underneath of this, and I'm going to put masking tape around her. I'm going to line her up on the base with the keys and let her sit for most of the day. Now that this key is pretty much holding her up pretty well, we're pretty set to go. Over on my corner of the floor is where I put self-leveling cement when I did my flat floor tiles in the studio. So that's where I kind of usually put a lot of stuff on the floor for the day. So hopefully when we come back tomorrow, the next day, whenever, we have these keys situated and she goes in and out of the base no problem. And that'll give me a better understanding of if I need to put some more Magic Sculpt around here and create more of a mound and give a little bit more stuff over here, which I probably will, and see how things go. So it's a matter of getting both girls situated in the bases, and then from there seeing how I need to connect them. I mean, it might evolve a little bit where maybe I dremel out this area a little bit, but I add a lot more over here. So it's like, I'm not sure how to go. It's just let's get them on the bases situated, to get them leveled, get them so they're not coming in and out and they're not tipping over, and then from there we'll figure out what we need to do for sculpting. Okay, so my original idea and design didn't work out too well. This always happens when I do custom bases. My initial idea sort of kind of evolves over time. So what I did is I went in the garage and I basically cut out a piece of foam core that is in scale, basically inside of my Besta case. So this is kind of the inside of the shelf Besta case. And what I want to do is I want to make sure both girls fit into the Besta case clean. So I cut up a bunch of foam core, I hot glued it around the area, and I positioned the girls after I chopped up the bases to kind of fit a little bit better. So right now I'm sitting in front of them and I like their line position. I think it's looking pretty good. So I think what will happen is she will not hit the front door if you close the door on the Besta, And we have a lot of room over here if I want to do a tombstone kind of broken in this direction, and maybe a hand coming out of the grave like it's coming up underneath of her. And then over here with Daphne, I could have like a keep out type sign in front of her feet, something like here, like kind of broken or something like that. I can't really push the girls both forward. I kind of want one girl behind and the other girl in the front, so I think this is kind of working out pretty well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of like think this over for the night to make sure this is what I want and this is going to line up correctly. And then what I'll do is I'll mark the bases inside there. I'll spray the foam core with some basic, mold release. And then what I'll do is I'll mix up some resin and I'll pour resin back into here. And it should work out pretty good where I have to just kind of sand it down again and I can create everything. Now as you can see, I have a piece of, Magic Sculpt, a block of resin, and Magic Sculpt. So this way, the girls are actually raised up a little bit higher. So that makes it good. So this way, if I pour in a thing of resin, I can have the resin come up to about right where the Magic Sculpt is. And then it'll give me some room to actually, put the grass in there and the dirt and everything else and kind of work on it. The bases kind of hold them up. This one's a little bit too iffy. I mean, it still holds her up, but I want to be safe and I want to have a bigger base. Same thing with her. Even though it works out pretty well, I still want a bigger base. So I'm just kind of spitballing here. Like I said, things evolve, but I think we're pretty good for tomorrow where I can cast up these bases. And then we can start thinking about the elements on the base and finishing up the hair. Okay, so I want to give you my thought process on this. So after I popped out the bases, I needed to do some grinding and planning out a little bit more. And, because I did it with the foam core, I couldn't really bend everything to like pure like circles and curves. So I had to go in with my grind wheel that's in my garage and I kind of grinded around the edges. So as I started grinding around the edges and I started putting the bases together, I started coming up with the idea that I like the idea where this base could kind of sort of shift. So I need to do a little bit better of a curve over here. So this way maybe what you could do is you could kind of turn her to the point where maybe if you want her to sit in your display, it'll kind of go this way. So you have one girl here and one girl here, you can see her booty, or you could kind of shift it around. So that's kind of the idea I'm coming up with. But mainly the idea is to have the girls set up like this. So I just got to kind of work out the bases a little bit more. And what I did do is I did taper the front of it just a little bit because I figure we're going to come up a little bit and go this way with the eaves and the grass and the dirt. And the idea over here is there's going to be a tombstone here and a hand coming up out of here out of the grave. So as far as the tombstone goes, I'm not going to say like rip in peace the creators. I'm going to say like thanks to the creators for the Scooby Girls. I'll come up with something. I don't know. I'm not really sure. If you guys have any comments, you want to put down saying like, oh, you should say this, you should say that. Give me some ideas. We'll see what might look good. I talked to my friend Meta John. What we think the best opportunity would be is on a piece of wood. What we could do is I could come up with the design of the tombstone. And then I can also do it in Illustrator of how I want it etched out, and he could probably etch it out in wood. And then maybe if I don't want to actually use the wood piece, what I could do is I can make a throwaway mold where I press the wood into this needle mold stuff I have, and then I can make a resin copy, and then I could tweak it more, and I can have a resin copy going in and out, because I'm really not a fan of using like wood too much for something like that. For Velma, I think maybe a keep out sign would be kind of cool. Maybe like a broken sign on the ground that says keep out. I can make that out of wood, and I think that would actually look cool for this one. So we'll see how things go. But that's kind of where we're at. So I'll be tweaking these bases hopefully by the next video, and I'll have a better understanding and stuff. These might be a little bit more to do on my live streams on Fridays because it's something I could probably maybe do it both at the same time. I don't know, we'll see. But I'll definitely kind of focus on this a little bit more in the next video, and also with the hair. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go set up in the photo booth and we can see what she looks like with my other Black Canary that's in my display case, and we'll close out the video that way. Alright, here we go, side by side again. Really like the way she's coming out. Really happy with the sweater. It's kind of pretty much what I envisioned. I still got a lot of sanding to do. Got a lot of tweaking. Just kind of prep up stuff a little bit more. Make sure that I didn't get any kind of like eaves or residue anywhere. But we're looking good. So the next step is when we come back, we're going to be really focusing on the hair in the next video. That's going to be a little tricky only because she has short hair and this head is removable. So I got to kind of plan out how this is going to work. I got to make sure a lot of the neck area thing is all kind of smooth out before I do the hair. It's going to be a little bit tricky. I kind of want the hair to kind of flow a little bit, but I don't want it to go too crazy. But other than that, looking good. So we're getting a little bit closer, as you can see, a little bit more detail on the sweater. Hopefully it's not getting too lost behind the background, but you can see it's really coming together. Now, as I said, I do have the bases set up. They are pretty much planned. What I need to do is I need to head out to a Michael's or AC Moore or Joann's or something, even a Hobby Lobby if I could get to one, and just kind of really see if I can find some more elements for the base, just to kind of see if there's anything I can add on to it. I am talking to my friend Meta John a little bit. We're trying to plan out how to best go about doing the tombstone for her, and also like maybe a get out sign for Daphne. So you can see it's really looking good. The skirt came out great. I'm really happy with the skirt. Definitely a nice booty shot for you guys. You can see the difference between the two. But so you can see the major difference between both statues and all that. So what I'm going to do real quick though is I'm going to go get Daphne. I'm going to go get the custom bases I'm working on, and we'll put them side by side so you can kind of see how I'm planning to set it up. Hopefully I can fit the bases on this turntable so we can turn them a little bit, and then we'll finish up the video. Okay, so here they are side by side. If you come into my Friday streams, you can see Daphne on the left. Her hair was started, so we're just kind of like tweaking that each week. That's kind of how I build. I build in sections. For Velma, hopefully in the next video I got a better understanding and an idea how I'm going to start working on the hair. It's going to be a little bit tricky. Shorter hair is a little bit trickier for me, whereas longer hair it seems to be easier, but I'm learning and I'm experimenting, so we'll see how this kind of turns out. So you can see how I came up with these bases. So like I said, the idea still is Daphne is going to probably have a tombstone here. And like I said, anyone in the comments in the videos, if you got any recommendations of the creators, maybe what we can say on a tombstone, let me know. Maybe we can come up with something nice, like a shout out to them. And then what we'll do is we'll have sort of like the grave rocks all kind of messed up and a little hand coming out trying to grab her. And then for Daphne, I'm thinking maybe like a get out sign or keep out type thing, or danger or something like that. So that's some things I got to kind of think about. I got to go out and find elements. We'll see how things go. But like I said, the idea with these bases is they can turn. So you can see if you want to turn, you know, Velma a little bit, you can. Now, it's not a completely perfect circle, and I'm not trying to make it completely perfect. The idea is they're supposed to be situated like this mostly, but you can separate them. You can even turn her more this way if you wanted to, and you can kind of have them looking in different directions. I know the airflow and everything's different, but whatever. I mean, if you really wanted to, I even set it up where this could kind of like click into that, so you can see the girls front and back and stuff, and it could still fit in the best of case. So I'm just experimenting, something new. It's kind of a fun idea, but that's kind of where we're at. So with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Next video, what we're going to do is we're going to focus on Velma's short hair. We're going to get all that hair sculpted out. That's something where I really got to like sit down and focus on it like a day or night or whatever. And then once the girls are pretty much all ready to go, I might be able to start painting them while kind of planning out the bases, because I still have good bases, you know, their original bases. I can keep them on and paint them. And then when I work on the bases, these bases, I can sort of build them and paint them at the same time, sort of like what I did with when I was building my Savage Land Rogue. I was able to kind of like build the base while I was doing them at the same time, but I also got to be careful of, you know, getting any kind of residue on the statue if I'm actually all painted. So it's going to be like, I have to see how things go. I might just kind of wait until I'm ready to get all these elements on the bases, maybe do these bases first, get them all nice and done, and then paint up the girls on their other original bases. We'll see how things go. It's always a plan, and always trying to see what I can best do with these figures. So that is the Scooby Girls so far. I really enjoy the way they're looking, and this should be a really good turnout once they're all done. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you at the next video.